Wow, that was a yawn, man. What an epic yawn. Welcome back to another episode of We Don't Have a Name for This Show Yet. And for today's episode, I will need notes because it's going to be quite long. And as you can see, our guest of today is already beside me. And it's none other than the Bata Hotshot. There was this one fine day, I came to office and there was a parcel on my table. And in that parcel is this box. And inside this box, there was a letter which was given to me by Mr. Charles. He's the Group Heritage Director of Bata. There's some cool stuff inside this box which features some Bata Heritage pins, a tote bag. This is even cooler, right? Bata Heritage pencils. The reason why I think pencils is involved in this is because Bata is well known for school shoes. I know most of you wear Bata school shoes to school. Yes, you did, yes. You did, right? Yeah. And what's inside is this. Ta-da! For those of you wondering where is Bata from? No, Bata is not from Malaysia, alright? It's not a Malaysian brand. And if you always thought Bata is from Malaysia, I don't blame you because Bata was synonymous with Malaysian school shoes. Alright, and Bata is actually from Czechoslovakia, or currently known as the Czech Republic. And it was formed in 1894, which is like, I'm Chinese but my math's quite bad. 123 years ago. And it was founded by Thomas Bata. The guy's name is called Thomas Bata. And it was a family business. It was ran like a family business. And in 1895, the business was not doing very well. So they decided to do canvas shoes instead of leather. Because back then, everyone does leather shoes. Nobody wears canvas shoes. It's unheard of. So they switched it up to canvas material and business just took off from there. Alright? Business really took off in World War I, where they had a lot of military contracts. So they had like a shitload of shoes to make for the army and everyone else. So they really did very well, and that's how Bata gained a lot of fortune and actually grow the brand. And they had like stores all over. Even after World War I, there was like some sort of depression. Business was not so good. So what they did was they decided to cut all their pay, 40% of all their staff's salary, but they provided housing, they provided food, and everyone stayed. Nobody left, and that's how they got through the whole economy. And the interesting thing is, all the shoes were on discount 50% because nobody could afford expensive shoes. Fast forward 1970, Bata produced the Hotshot. This is actually a tennis shoe. It was made in the 1970s. It's in partnership with Wilson. Wilson is actually a famous brand in the tennis world. So they actually produce balls, rackets and stuff like that. So Wilson and Bata got together and like, hey bro, you wanna do a new lightweight shoe for the tennis players? Yeah, cool man, that'll be nice. So everyone can wear light shoes and run around faster. Alright, cool. Push, came out this new shoe, 1970s. But it was not very popular. Yes, it was popular among tennis players, but it really hit mainstream when 20 years later Kurt Cobain was wearing it. Kurt Cobain was seen wearing it like a few times, many times. He just liked it to be different, and it was not like a typical mainstream shoe. So he wore it many times, and after that everyone wanted a pair of it. As some of you know, there was like a long queue at Mid Valley, and a lot of sneakerheads were queuing up for this. But the newer sneakerheads and some of this like the young guys were asking me like, what in the world is the fuss about this shoe? If in case you don't know, actually Bata's shoes are pretty famous and valuable in the bundle vintage scene. So if you're like a vintage collector or you're into the bundle stuff, if you find one of these around, these are actually pretty valuable. I've heard like the authentic one back in the 1970s can cost well above a few thousand ringgit. If you have one of these, good for you. If you don't have one of these, I have one. Thank you so much for watching. That's it. Bye bye.